Okay, let's get into it. Where are we going? We're already in. Oh, you're gonna get tight spells. Keep paddling. Don't stop paddling. Okay, here we go. Okay, and we turn, just keep paddling, okay? Keep paddling! Keep paddling! Hold on to the boat! Hold on to the boat! Hold on to the boat! Kia ora koutou tā whakaahua whānau. Ko te rohoroi e tēnei rā. Let's do the photos of the week. Okay, well, spoiler alert, we survived the capsize, we made it out alive, we got back home, and today for photos of the week, we're going to be looking at the Whanganui River Journey in Te Ika O Maui, or the North Island of Aotearoa, New Zealand. It's an awesome journey. It's one of the 10 great walks here in New Zealand, although there's not a lot of walking in this one, but basically you roll up to Rātihi, you load all your gear into these watertight barrels, you grab your canoe, you jump in the van and you head out to Whakahoko, and we did the 88-kilometre trip down to Pipariki, and it really is quite cool. Around every single corner you get these sweeping river vistas, beautiful scenery, mainly all green to be fair, and a little bit of muddy farmland type of water. But there'd been a lot of rain recently, so the river level was quite high, and the rapids were okay. As you saw, we tipped out on one of the rapids there, but we stayed in tents. It's late in the season here and we were the only tenters. Mostly everybody else on the river was staying in the huts or in the lodges. But to be fair, there was only about maybe a dozen other people on the river in canoes at the same time we were there. And this is us, camp life, everything out on the table, cooking on the riverside. Here's the river kitchen. You can basically just pull up anywhere on the river, make your lunch, relax, chill back, whatever you want to do. We didn't have it all our own way though. It did persist down. It rained. The forecast I looked at said sun. The forecast my wife looked at said rain. She was right, and we had to shelter in this cabin here and stay out of the rain. But as you can see from this shot here, we also had some beautiful blue sky weather. Just an idyllic, serene place to be. At this time of the year, take a few days off and head out into the wilderness. And here are just a few shots of the canoes, and as you can see, they're fairly well laden down with all your gear. So you pack it all into these barrels and you strap them into your canoe. All that being said though, I wouldn't hold back on the gear you take. Take a little bit extra because you can fit more in the barrels than what you can fit in a pack. So we had a bit of space left over, but by all means take the gear you think you'll need. And as you can see from this, you just come through these lovely landscapes, these river views and vistas, and you can just chill back, take it easy. And at one point we dismounted the canoes and we went for a walk to the bridge to nowhere. You have to walk there because it's a bridge to nowhere. But this bridge here was built in the late 30s by returned servicemen from World War I who had been gifted land holdings in that area to farm by the government. But in actual fact, only 5 or so years later, all of the returned servicemen abandoned their farm holdings because they were just too tough to work. So the bridge now stands as a monument to that forgotten time. It's basically a tourist attraction now. We were fortunate there weren't many people there, so I was able to get these great shots of the bridge to nowhere unattended. Just lovely green, popping nature colours, really cool. And then on the second night we stayed at a place called Tieke Kainga, which is one of the dock campsites, but it's actually a marae for Te Whanau o Tieke, or Iwi Nararu Kitahi. The campsite was just immaculate, beautifully maintained, the lawns were done. And this is just a look across the river to the cabins on the other side. Oh, here comes a family of geese. Wow, that is incredible. Let me just grab this real quick. Oh, beautiful. Get above the waterline. Nice. Good work, guys. Wow. Okay, back to the photos of the week. There's these great big caverns and waterfalls everywhere you look. Fantastic. And one thing I like about getting out into nature or doing these walks is looking for the textures of nature. And as you can see here, some sand stalactites formed by the water dripping off the ceiling of the cavern. And really interesting textures all around in the sand and in the land and in the fossilized shellfish, in the rocks. The ceiling of the caves, the caverns. Wow. You just really have to be in these places to sort of appreciate them in the moment. So I'd suggest get out to the Whanganui River Journey and check it out. It's really, really cheap. The tent sites are only $15 per person per night. And to hire the canoes cost me and the wife $190 each. For the canoe, we got the rides out, we got a feed once we got back. It was just really, really great. A great value holiday, vacation. Although when you tip out of the canoe into the river, I'm not sure that Bells, my wife, would say it was necessarily a holiday. But there's also a few trails you can take. There's lots of animals around, heaps of goats. I mean, if you like goats. And I think this is a little robin, maybe a North Island robin. I only know that because we're not in the South Island. And of course the raki, there's lots of raki, the ducks. And this is our mate from Tieke, Kainga, Henry the duck. What a great little guy. And he really put on a show with this smile here. Old Henry the duck. Good fella, that guy. Or girl. I think it's a girl, right? And then I included this photo here because the focus is amazing. But as you can see, these sort of panoramic scenes as you come around each bend. And at one moment you can be lying in completely still, serene, flat water. And then all of a sudden there's a rapid. So you go from absolutely laid back to full on action, paddling. And the idea is to go right over the crest of the rapid, but if you get caught on the side, you get tipped out, as you saw at the start here. But overall, a really, really cool, great walk. We wanted to tick it off all the rest of the ones we've got to do are in the South Island now. We've got Pike River, Abel Tasman, the Rootburn, Kepler and the Milford. So yeah, we're going to be knocking those off over the next few years. Hey, but one thing about getting out on the Whanganui River Journey is if you want to take your cameras or your electronics, it's at your own risk. I got lucky, my camera didn't die. But as you can see here, it's certainly on the road to it. It does not look in great shape. But I just love to have a working camera. You know, these high-priced electronics in a working environment, or an outdoor environment, I should say. But that is a working camera for sure. And then just a couple of photos to leave off with. I really like this one, the faces in the cliff, poking out from the greenery there. And you can just sort of see what you want to see in these photos. But I just love the crispness and the color of that particular one. And then this last one here was taken at Tieke. And I'm not an astrophotographer by any stretch of the imagination, but because of where we were, the Milky Way just streaked straight out. It was obvious to even the naked eye to see. So fortunately for me, I was able to capture it in this photo here. But hey, thanks a lot for watching the photos of the week. I recommend the Whanganui River Journey. Get out and do it. You know, it's great fun. Otherwise, have an awesome weekend, a great week, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.